It is so good to see you. I'm John Bradshaw, president of It Is Written. In collaboration with the General Conference Treasury and Planned Giving and Trust Services departments, I'm here today to talk about a wonderful way to give through the Donor Gift Fund. The Donor Gift Fund is a new Adventist fund to help donors better experience the joy of giving. This is a donor-advised fund where donors can make a charitable contribution, receive an immediate charitable income tax deduction, then requests that grants be made to Adventist and other charitable organizations later on. It's a one-stop shop for simplicity and flexibility in your charitable donations, and it can help others experience the joy of giving as well. Let's talk to someone who's used a donor-advised fund, and we'll find out a little bit more. This is Linda Spady. Linda's married to a medical missionary physician, and she has the joy of working on her mother's foundation with her children and niece. Welcome, Linda.
It's so nice to meet you, Elder Bradshaw.
How has using a donor-advised fund simplified your giving?
Well, we can send our donations to one organization now, be given a tax-deductible receipt, then we can distribute the funds in the future as needs arise. And it is really streamlined sending our monthly tithes and offerings to our local church, as well as donating to the North American Division designated church's yearly giving plan. And sometimes when we go to church, we see a mission spotlight and we feel impressed to donate to that specific cause, such as Mission Unusual Tokyo. Since the Fukushima nuclear accident, I've just had it on my heart to pray for Japan, and a wide variety of dedicated workers with many talents have moved to Tokyo, and they're finding a lot of joy in getting to know their neighbors and learning how best they can reach them for Jesus.
Wonderful. So I've got another question. How has using a donor-advised fund provided you greater flexibility in your giving?
Well, getting a tax deduction has increased the ability to give more funds, which is a lot of fun. And it's a blessing to also be able to give anonymously. No matter how much we give, small or large donations, I know God makes them multiply. Also, I found in my experience that when I'm not listening to God's Spirit leading me, I focus on what I can get for myself and seeking honor for me. But when I listen to God's Spirit, it leads me to giving and seeking His glory. Bob and I saw the joy our parents had in working with Jesus and giving of all their talents from a heart of love and not obligation or a desire to just look good. And by God's grace, we have seen that passed on to our adult children. I found that there's no satisfaction in living for myself or giving into fleeting pleasures, but using those talents in service really makes me happy. And I've noticed that it's a protection from temptation.
Okay, so you can give whenever you want to, and then make decisions about where the money goes later. And if you want privacy, that's possible too. Great. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Bradshaw, for this opportunity, and God bless you.
Now let's talk to Scott Kopic, Associate Director of the General Conference and the North American Division's Planned Giving and Trust Services Office. Scott is active in helping everyone experience the joy of giving, and he's been part of the team establishing this Seventh-day Adventist Donor Gift Fund. Scott, welcome. People give their tithe and offering at their local church, so why do they need this other option?
Well, thank you, John, for asking this question, because this is an important point for us to talk about. We encourage people to always return a faithful tithe and give an offering through their local church. These contributions are sacred, as revealed in Leviticus 27:30. All the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's. It is holy to the Lord. Now, if someone is only giving through their local church, then the donor gift fund may not be as beneficial for them. For example, my wife and I, We are putting our 3 kids in Adventist schools, and as a result of this, my wife and I don't have a lot of disposable income. So the bulk of our giving is in the form of tithes and offerings, and therefore we give that directly through our local church. While this Adventist donor gift fund could be used to return a tithe and offering, this is really for individuals who want to support many different organizations or need to capture some tax benefits by making a charitable donation quickly and deciding at a later time where the gift should go, or are wanting to teach others about the joy of giving. So while the Adventist Donor Gift Fund is a simple and flexible way to assist donors in their giving to support the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, it is not necessarily right for everyone. But for many donors, it can help them share their blessings like streams of light, reaching people all over the world for Jesus Christ.
Okay, got another question for you. How does the Adventist Donor Gift Fund work?
Well, first of all, for help in setting up their own account, donors can contact their local Plan Giving and Trust Services representative in their local conference. Or they could contact their favorite college, university, or ministry and talk with someone in their development department. Now, the minimum donation to open an account is $1,000. And when they open the account, the donor will have 2 sub-accounts in each fund. One sub-account will be directed to a specific Adventist organization that the donors will be able to choose for themselves. And all funds in this sub-account will go to this named Adventist organization and only this Adventist organization. Now, the named organization could be the donor's local conference, a college or university, or a ministry. And even schools that are constituted as academies could be named as a beneficiary on this account. Now, if a donor would like gifts to go to their local church, they can do this by listing the conference and restricting any grants from the account for the use of this local church. Now, the other funds is a discretionary fund, and that can go to any charitable organization within the United States. This could be other Adventist organizations or ASI ministries or any other organization that you may want to support, like the Red Cross or the United Way. Now, when a donor wants to make a grant from their fund, they simply can go online or call a toll-free number and request the grant to be made. For more information on how this all works and how to set up your own fund, donors can go to our website.
Scott, thank you so much. What a great opportunity to use the Donor Gift Fund to help coordinate and direct your charitable giving. So now let's talk to Delbert and Cordell Pearman and see what their experience has been like. Delbert and Cordell are originally from Bermuda. They've spent nearly their entire life working for the Adventist denomination in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and at the General Conference. Currently, Delbert is the Assistant Treasurer for Adventist World Radio, and Cordell is the Executive Assistant to the Adventist Risk Management Services President. Thank you both for taking the time to talk about the Donor Gift Fund. How has using a donor-advised fund allowed you to help others experience the joy of giving?
Well, the gift fund came right on time for us. My father, about 8 years ago, right after my mom passed, said that he wanted to reorganize his will. So he asked for my thoughts, and he mentioned he had given his tithe all throughout his life, and he wanted to leave 10% of his assets to the church, and the balance he was thinking of leaving some for his children, some for his grandchildren, and he had some other ideas that he had in mind. And he asked what I thought of it. So I told him, Dad, that's not good. I said, everything that you owe us children, you've given to us already. You've given us a good name, you've given us a good education, you gave us good food to eat, you set before us a good example, you took good care of Mom, and so you really don't owe us anything. But in addition to that, the grandchildren, that's not your burden, that's our burden. Why don't you think of doing more for the Lord's work? So he went back and revised his will. He passed about 6 months ago. And I noticed when they read his last will and testament, he had left 2/3 of all of his assets to the Lord's work, and 1/3 he distributed among his children. And so we thought that was, he was happy to know that he was doing more for the Lord's work. And then in his will, he asked if I could manage the portion that he wanted to go for foreign missions. Now that would have been quite difficult for me to manage because he left quite a healthy sum of money. And so the donor gift fund was right on time. We went ahead and made a distribution to the donor gift fund, and there we don't have to manage the money. We don't have to look for how we're going to get it overseas. They have a program in place to handle all of that. And all we have to do is just give instructions as to where we would like to have these funds sent to help to foster the Lord's work. So it was really a blessing to us. And Cadell, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, since we had the opportunity to work overseas, we were able to see the many needs in the very remote areas that we worked. And it was a blessing for us because with Delwood's dad giving the funding, we were able to look at some of the needs that we were accustomed to doing ourselves, that we were able to take these needs, and we were able to help these areas with the funding so that we can continue with the work that was very passionate to us. And Del would tell them about Kaysen.
Oh, yes. Well, we have custody, legal guardian of our grandson. He is about 10 years of age, and we took him to one of the mission assignments that we went on. And in order to instill a love for giving and compassion, I used to give him some money so that he can give to some of the beggars along the street. It wasn't much, equivalent to about one meal for them. And he used to joyfully go up to a person on the street and give them some money. Never mind if they were imposters or not, just the joy of giving, and that was most important to me. And he had a glow on his face. And then eventually it got to the point where enough money for one meal wasn't sufficient for him. He would come back and he would insist that I give him equivalent of what would be 1 month's wage in giving. And I said, wait a minute now, we're going to have a little talk about it. And then recently his school had a fundraising to help Ukrainian refugees, and he emptied almost all of his savings to give to that. And so I had to take him aside, but I dare confess that he was more righteous than I was in that regard. But this fund now helps take him to the next level, because when we look at funding programs, we will involve him in the discussion and some of the ideas. And this way, he would foster a love for mission, a passion for supporting missions, so when he gets older, he can continue that trend. And so I think it's already instilled joy in him. So I can see this going over multiple generations. And as he gets older, he would continue to give, and his grandchildren, he will pass it on. So I'm thankful for this program and happy that we have an opportunity to participate.
Thank you so much. It really does seem like you can create a legacy gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, Delbert and Cordell. This has been a blessing. I hope that by hearing Linda, Delbert, and Cordell's stories, that you're motivated to use the Donor Gift Fund to extend your charitable giving for years to come. For more information, be sure to visit the website. Thank you, and God bless you.